Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's nice to be with you all in the middle of Sukkot. That's why we have our sukkah up in the middle of the bima. We won't be shaking the lulav and etrog because it's Shabbat, but it's nice to be here at this time, and Wisconsin is gorgeous right now with the turning of the leaves. So I hope that you were able to see some of that on the way in, maybe not so much on the way out. It'll be dark by then, but just a lot of gratitude for what we're able to see here. So we will begin this evening with Yedid Nefesh on page 10. Page 10.
Yedid Nefesh Av HaRachaman Mishol Chavdecha El Retzonecha Yarutz Avdecha Kimo Ayal Yishtachave El Mul Hadarecha Yarutz Avdecha Kemo Ayal Yishtachave El Mul Hadarecha. Let's sing Lai Lai Lai. Lai 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 Avdecha Kemo Ahayal Yishtachave El Mul Hadarecha Yarutz Avdecha Kemo Ahayal Yishtachave El Mul Hadarecha.
It is an honor and a joy to call up Ethel and Ben Stern to light our Shabbat candles this evening. We'll begin with a reading on page 3 before we light them. And just as the Shabbat candles bring light to our service this evening, Ethel and Ben bring light to our community all the same.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Let's all sing together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, shel Shabbat.
We turn to page 12 as we read one of our Kabbalat Shabbat hymns together. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. Raise a shout for our rock and deliverer. Let us come into God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. For Adonai is a great God, the great ruler of all divine beings. In God's hand are the depths of the earth. The peaks of the mountains are God's. God's is the sea, God made it, and the land which God's hands fashioned. Come, let us bow down and kneel. Bend the knee before Adonai our Maker. For Adonai is our God, and we are the people God tends, the flock in God's care. Oh, if you would but heed God's charge this day. We continue on page 20 with Lecha Dodi as we welcome in the Sabbath bride. When we get to the last verse, Boi v'chala, we will rise and turn towards the entrance as we welcome the Sabbath bride in to dwell with us. And when we finish that, we'll turn back around and you may have a seat.
Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. La la, lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmianu el hameyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem ultiferet v'liti la 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor haberacha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila. La 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat la la, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, kiva oreich kumi ori shir daberi, kivod Adonai alayich nigela. La la. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam besimcha uvetzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela.
On page 27, teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. We continue with Chatzi Kaddish on page 26.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye decho Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uvizman kariv veyimeru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam le'almei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha Brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma ve'yimeru Amen.
Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time. Even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence. We turn to page 28 for our call to worship the Baruch Hu and rise as a community.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
We turn to page 30 for Ma'ariv Aravim, thanking God for all of creation and especially for setting the sun and the moon and the stars in their course in the sky. We'll read together in the Hebrew, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, bechokma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah mitzvot, chukim umishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu v'shochbeinu uvkumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach bedivrei Toratecha uvmitzvotecha leolam va'ed ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla nege yomam v'layla ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch ata Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael.
We continue with the watchword of our faith, the Shema, on page 34.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated. We turn to page 36 for Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele Asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha Ukeshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot bein einecha uchetavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We turn to page 39 as we read this prayer, just these words just before we chant the prayer, Mi Chamocha, speaking of our freedom, our ancestors crossed from bondage and slavery in Egypt to freedom as they marched across the Sea of Reeds. We'll read responsibly at the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot.
That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness.
That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
We turn to page 43. We'll read together at the top of the page for Hashkivenu, our prayer asking God for a shelter of peace, God's guidance and protection. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We rise for the tefillah, our standing prayer, and we begin with Adonai Sifatai on page 46.
Adonai Sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Geula Lihivnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah rav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamolcha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, melech memit, umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'emanat lehachayot hakol, baruch ata Adonai, mechaye hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalalu chasela, baruch ata Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
You may be seated. We read responsively at the top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. And we turn to page 57 for Ritzei. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu ba'amcha Yisrael, u'tefilatam ba'ahava tekabel, u'tehi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. We turn to page 59 for our Hoda'ah prayer, our prayer of thanksgiving. And at this time in the fall, we just came off of Canadian Thanksgiving, which Rabbi Noah celebrates, and we are in our Jewish holiday of Thanksgiving, Sukkot, and American Thanksgiving is coming up not too far from now. So it's a good time for us to think about all the things that we are grateful for. We'll read together at the top of page 59. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. We turn to page 60 with a prayer for peace for us and for all the world. Shalom Rav.
Shalom, shalom, shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha ve'al kol ha'amim tasim le'olam tasim le'olam ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom, shalom rav al Yisrael amcha ve'al kol ha'amim tasim le'olam, tasim le'olam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol eit uv'chol sha'a, b'chol eit uv'chol sha'a, b'shlomecha. Shalom, shalom, shalom rav al Yisrael amcha ve'al kol ha'amim tasim le'olam, tasim le'olam. Baruch atah Adonai hamevarech et amo Yisrael bashalom.
With those soothing notes of shalom, of peace, we turn our thoughts to those in our community who are in need of a prayer for healing, a Misha Berach, a different kind of shalom, a kind of shalem, of wholeness, refuah shlema, a full healing. We turn to these words of Misha Berach on page 253. Our community is thinking of Shandol Bat Frida Malka, Julie Borakaf, Margot Raz, Carol Dubin, Samsara Vizkaya, Sharon Rotman, Bob Radke, Lyle Ruble, Jean Bass, Alan Turner, Steve Teplinsky, Myron Dvorkin, Esther Cohen, Lisa Furstad, Hachazan Sarah Rachel Bat Yocheved Alexander, Tia Barrett, Wendy Salzberg, Steve Plotkin, Avram Ben Naftali, Emma and Max, Doug Cruz, Nadiva Sarah Batliba, Carol Rovner, David Goldstein, Marilyn Harmon, Barry Bursack, Debbie Kelly, Reza Tzvia Batshena Etta, Mary Frankowitz, Sophia Rubenstein, Ilana Himmelfarb, Wendy Wiviet, Sue Weller, Kate Wilson, Yocheved Bat Rundle V'chaim, Avraham Bat Frida, Marla Chakowski, Michael Sachek, David Rotter, Peter Becker, Natalie Cohen, Teresa Drews, Yona Neri Ben Avraham Vasara, Batya Bat Moshe Veliba, Keith Mandel, Jamie Kriaman, Ela Bat Natan Vishoshana, Mark Cook, Peyton Roberts, Cooper Saul Roberts, Luke Clinton Roberts, Keely Roberts, Jason Roberts, Mark Berlin, Dr. Susie Mendelson, Audrey Rubin, Josh Bollet, Michaela Helen Berg, Julie Austin, Jay Stearns, Moshe Ben Fagala Vasal, Eli Palin, and Marion Newman. If there are loved ones who you are thinking of who could use a healing of body, a healing of soul, refuat hanefesh, refuat haguf, I invite you to hold them in your hearts as we turn to page 253 for Misha Berach.
Misha Berach אבותינו, מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu, mekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We take a moment now for silent meditation for the prayers of your heart.
Ose shalom bimromam, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ose shalom. Ose shalom bimromam, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen, ve'imru amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
The holiday of Sukkot, as I said a little bit earlier, is about gratitude. It is the only one of the 3 festival holidays throughout the year focused purely on Thanksgiving. Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot are known as the pilgrimage holidays. In ancient days, it was customary to travel to Jerusalem and bring an offering from your harvest. Passover is in the spring at the beginning of the planting period. Shavuot marks the start of the wheat harvest. These offerings were brought to Jerusalem with gratitude to God, praying that the harvest would be bountiful. Sukkot is the only one of the 3 that takes place at the end of the harvest. During this holiday, people pray to thank God for the abundance that they have received. There's nothing to ask for at that point. All of the work has been taken care of. There's only thanksgiving. So I want to try a little something different this evening. I have some questions to foster some discussion for us. So we are commanded by God in the book of Deuteronomy, Samachta bechagecha, regarding Sukkot, take joy in your festival. But can God really command us to feel a certain way? Brent's shaking his head a little bit. Maybe not. Does it work when other people try to elicit specific emotions from us, when they have expectations of us to feel a certain way? Sometimes not. Most of the time not, I would venture. So how then can we understand this commandment? What are some thoughts that we have about Samachta bechagecha, take joy in your festival? Cantor, you want to get us started?
The first thought that came to my mind was God commands us to take joy, and sometimes it might be difficult to find that place of joy. We might be in a different emotional place depending on one's lives and one's relationships at this time of year.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's a challenge to find that joy. Maybe we're not quite in that place, especially coming off of Yom Kippur, a holiday that's very serious and heavy. And then a week later, we're commanded, take some joy. Take joy in this holiday. What are some other thoughts that people have? Why are we commanded to take joy in this holiday? What does that mean if we can't really be commanded to feel a certain way? Yeah, Brent.
Well, I think with Sukkot, commanded that you're encouraged to bring others into the Sukkah with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a good feeling to be around people and bring joy into your life.
Absolutely. We're encouraged to bring others into our synagogue to celebrate with us, to sit with us for a meal. And that's a way that we can encourage joy, bring joy into our lives. 1 or 2 more? Any brave souls? So maybe if you're not quite at that point just yet, you look a little bit further into the future and see some things that are happy, that are coming around the corner. So maybe it's encouraging us to look forward a little bit. Yeah. To really, maybe we're commanded as a way to remind us, you have a lot to be grateful for. Let's think about and dwell on what those things are.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like a suggestion to enjoy the harvest.
Absolutely, a suggestion to enjoy the harvest. So we've just come off of all of this really hard work, which kind of parallels Yom Kippur. They've come off of a lot of really hard work in the field, in the harvest, agriculturally. We've come off of the hard soul work and emotional work of really thinking and digging deep into how we behaved the year before, and trying to apologize and make it right, and now let's lighten up the mood. Let's think about, the things that bring us joy also, so that we're not fully dwelling in that space for too long. So I think a couple of you have touched on some of the pieces. Maybe it's not so much about forcing ourselves to experience joy, that God's saying, you must be happy right now. Just flip the switch, just like that. Maybe it's about experiencing joy through the rituals that we have for Sukkot. So Brent, you mentioned bringing others into our sukkah and having them dwell there with us for a meal. So maybe it's supposed to remind us to engage in this practice, Abby, you were saying, of gratitude, to get us to think about all of those things. So what are some more of the rituals that we perform during the holiday of Sukkot?
Well, it's the building of the sukkah, which is a very physical thing, and the decorating, which is a freilich, which is a happy thing, right? The fruits and the leaves and the ushpizin, the pictures of our ancestors, and other wonderful people that have been with us in the world.
Yeah, so we have this physical act that sort of brings us into the present. We have to actually get up out of the Yom Kippur moment and go out and build, use our strength and our bodies, get them moving. Moving often brings a little bit of joy, a little bit of happiness, some of those endorphins. And then we've got the freilich, the joyful, the happy part of decorating our sukkah, of putting up, we had, on Sunday, we had Pizza in the Hut. We had our Sukkot family event, and we had kids. So many kids were here. And we had them build Sukkot out of Legos and decorate candy Sukkot and make all of the paper chains and different things to hang in our sukkah, and they had such a great time. So really bringing in that sort of childlike sense of wonder and joy in that way. What else do we do for Sukkot? Yeah. So we shake the arba minim. We have the lulav, which has the willow, the palm, and the myrtle, and then the etrog. Or etrog, yeah. Absolutely. That's kind of silly. Like if you take a step back from it, and you didn't know anything about Sukkot, and you just saw someone waving around this funky-looking lemon and making a lot of noise with the lulav, it looks a little silly. It can, also bring us into that joyful space as well.
I remember at my first year at cantorial school in Jerusalem, and just before Sukkot, like in the wintertime when it's a big snow and the plows come and they make a mountain of snow in like the parking lot of the shopping center. In Jerusalem, there's a mountain of schach. Schach is what you put on the top of your sukkah. And there's a mountain of it. Why? Because everyone needs it. And that just brought such a smile to my face. I remember that so clearly. That's the schach.
It's a fun word to say.
Everybody say it.
Schach.
Yeah, that's good.
Definitely. So you mentioned a little bit earlier about ushpizin, about bringing guests into our sukkah, and some of them are our biblical ancestors, and some of them are, loved ones that aren't physically with us on this earth any longer, but we're inviting their memory in. So that's another practice that we have, to maybe invite in those characteristics and think about gratitude from that angle. What are the character traits from the people that we love? And what are some memories that we have of them? If we're thinking about inviting them in, maybe we share some stories about them together, and that can be joyful. So we have all of these rituals that bring us feelings of gratitude and joy, and it's right off of Yom Kippur, we said a little earlier. So Yom Kippur, the rabbis consider this sort of a dress rehearsal for death. So we wear a white shroud, we wear white clothing to represent the white shroud that we use in Jewish burial practices. And we come and we ask forgiveness for all of our misdeeds. So we are looking at the year before, and towards the end of our life, we sort of do a life review. We're thinking back on all of the experiences that we've had, and where the times that we fell short. So it's sort of a mini dress rehearsal in that sense. And Sukkot then is our chance to really be brought back to life. So we are out in the elements. We're eating with family and friends, finding all these ways to be joyful and practices that teach us to be grateful for what we have, to lift the mood. So what are some ways that we practice gratitude in our everyday lives? Yeah, Steve. Tzedakah. Being grateful for what we have in a monetary way and finding a way to share that out with others who are in need. Absolutely. Absolutely. Acknowledging other people who help us and saying thank you. Prayer. Any more to that? Absolutely. We just said the Hoda'ah prayer, the prayer for gratitude, the prayer for thanksgiving. So we can engage in a gratitude practice by praying to God, absolutely. So we also spent Yom Kippur thinking about our past. We thought about the past year, and then we also thought about our future and what we'd like to accomplish in the year to come, how we'd like to behave in a little bit different, a little bit elevated way. And Sukkot is that chance to ground us in the present. So we have the physical activity of building our sukkah, of dwelling with other people and being grateful for what we have in the here and now. Our ancestors did so because of the harvest. We do so as an opportunity to kind of come out of Yom Kippur and again ground ourselves in present reality. And so it's really asking us to be in the moment and be present. So I'd like to invite you to take some time to reflect in the next couple of days on what joy we can find and hold on to leading up to Simchat Torah, the holiday of Simchat Torah, our most exuberant holiday where we're dancing like crazy with all the Torahs and we get to unroll the Torah scroll with all of our kids here for consecration. So I invite you to take this Shabbat and find the things that you are joyful about and hold on to those as we come into Simchat Torah. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We will begin our concluding prayers this evening on page 282 with Aleinu. We'll rise as a community. We're at the bottom of page 282.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad, Ushemo echad, Ushemo echad.
You may be seated. Just as we invite in our biblical ancestors and those loved ones who are no longer physically with us during the time of Sukkot, now in our service we think of those who are no longer present with us. And though they are no longer physically on the earth, we hold them in our hearts and in our minds, their presence guiding us each and every day. Our congregation is commemorating the lives during the period of Shiva of Yale Kaplan and Douglas Vreeland Shute, and during the period of Shloshim, the lives of Harriet Arnold, Millicent Benfield, Gerald Gilbert, Jerry Kramer, and Michael Schumann. And those who have passed at this time in years gone by, Shirley Appel, Kenneth Arbetter, Erwin Arbiter, Ronald Barmash, Milton Becker, Harry Becker, Wendy B. Berman, Florence Bernstein, Jean Cherner, Minnie Dubman, Richard Fagenbaum, Louis Feingold, Lot Fleischer Minkus, Edith Israel, Calvin Joswick, Samuel Kagan, Bertha Kaplan, Lillian Kolb, Leon Leopold, Ismail Levkov, Jack Lichtig, Irvin B. London, Sadie Mendeloff, Stacy Naiman, Evelyn Nye, Howard Pillay, Morris Paley, Bernard Peck, Leo Peter, Leo D. Pinsky, Frida Plavnik, David Rosenthal, Howard Ross, Sam Rothman, Lee Rothman, Shep Schmidt, John M. Schnapp, Isabel Ship, Marion Smith, Goldie Spiegler, Florence Stern, Joseph L. Strauss, Samuel Sussman, and A. Allen Sverdlin. If there are loved ones you are thinking of you'd like to share with our community, please do so as my eyes meet yours. In addition to those we are holding in our hearts, we also think of the 6 million who perished during the Holocaust, as well as those who have died due to acts of war and terrorism around the globe, those who have died during the global pandemic, as well as those who no longer have anyone to say Kaddish for them. We turn to these words, these sacred words of Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 294, and we rise as one community. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon u'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'almei almaya, yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, Vit hadar, vit ale, vit halal, shemei dekudasha, berichu. Le'ela minkol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, May their memories be for a blessing. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated. And as we turn from these words of Mourner's Kaddish, which don't actually mention the word death, but instead speak of praising God, we turn to the life of our congregation and praise God for all the activity that we have going on here. And it's an honor to invite forward our president, Brent Arnold, to give our announcements this evening.
Thank you very much, Rabbi. Hello, everybody. Chag Sameach and Shabbat Shalom. Hope you all are having a wonderful Sukkot and had the chance to welcome someone or something new into either your sukkah or into your life. For me, Sukkot is really special because I actually had my bar mitzvah over the Sukkot holiday, and so with Rabbi Ron, I got to shake the lulav and the etrog, which was a lot of fun. So always brings back some good memories for me. But it was really nice to see so many people here on Sunday night filling our sukkah outside. It was a great night with a fantastic dinner too. The kids really loved building edible sukkahs, and I got to admit I kind of liked eating those sukkahs too. But thank you so much to the generosity of the Werner family for their gift of our wonderful sukkah and contributing to the evening as well. Tomorrow morning, we have our 9 o'clock Torah study and community Shabbat service at 10 o'clock in the morning. Lunch will then start after the service at about 11:30. Mazel Tov as well on the bar mitzvah of Jack Rosenberg that's tomorrow. This should be a great day for the entire Rosenberg family. On this Sunday evening, we welcome you all back for our Simchas Torah service at 5 o'clock with a really cool klezmer band. Right, Cantor?
Service at 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Is the dinner
The
before?
dinner's at 5. Yep.
Oh, sorry. Dinner's at 5. The service is at 6. So I wonder how much a klezmer band has to practice before that.
Plenty.
It's also always a lot of fun to celebrate with the Torah. Then the congregational dinner is at 5. So please register online for the dinner. The Yizkor service will then also be on Monday morning at 10 o'clock. We are off to a great new year here at Congregation Shalom. Thanks for joining us tonight. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Stay warm out there. I hope you all have a very nice Shabbat.
We'll now turn to Kiddush on page 5 and rise together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh Reshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh, zeichel yitziat mitzrayim, ki vanu vacharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol hamim, V'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. L'chaim.
L'chaim. We turn to our closing song this evening. It is a rousing rendition of Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu on page 353.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
Shabbat Shalom and Moadim L'Simcha. May it be a time of joy.